Making the decision to delete socials is hard enough, but what comes next might be even worse. The FOMO. But don't worry, even this stage is overcomable. And so, today, I am going to share my 3 personal tips on how you can get through this hard stage of leaving socials. So, let's dig in. First one, find different ways to catch up with your friends. Guys, I know that this may sound ridiculous because, hey, like, we're humans. This should be natural. We shouldn't need advice on how we communicate with each other. But bear with me, it's really, really useful. Especially when it comes to people that you don't really see a lot. For example, old friends from childhood or ground school, or people that you care about but aren't really in your day-to-day life. Because when it comes to those people, you usually communicate via socials. You know, you probably like their photos or comment on them or reply to their stories, and so you're in contact, but the main source of engagement comes from the social media. And so if you don't want to lose the connection to these people, you have to replace it. And my favorite way is actually embracing our parents' communication habits, our parents' digital communication habits, and it's using messaging apps. Guys, I don't know about you, but my parents, and especially my dad, just use their messaging apps as social media. When we're on a trip or we are hiking, he takes a ton of photos, and then in the middle of the trip, he just opens his gallery, he selects all the pictures he would post to Instagram, but instead he clicks on the icon of WhatsApp and selects all the family groups, all his friends groups, and all of his individual friends that he cares about in that moment and that he wants to inform about how he's doing. And I find it so genius. I tried it on the first holiday after deleting my Instagram, and God, it was amazing. Because every time I would come back home from trip, it was holiday in Italy in the Alps, so we would go hiking, and every time I would come back, I would select those photos and send it to my close friends. And it felt just so good because it wasn't like I would post it and they would see it and be like, oh, he's doing great. But they actually saw that I cared about them. I sent it directly to them. So even the response were not like, oh, great for you, I'm happy for you. No, we actually started conversations and it actually felt much better because we both were engaging together more, and I actually got to see more into their life than if I would have watched their Instagram stories, because they told me the same thing that was on Instagram, but also they shared more. So from the information perspective, it was actually better. And if you want to be even more personal and you want to take it even notch further, then you should try calling. That service that you're paying for monthly is part of your data plan and you still never use it. Guys, just call your loved ones on the phone. That's literally the feature that you are intended to use the device for. Literally. And I know it may feel extremely scary at first. Like, for many years, I really had a severe problem with calling people because it just felt so scary. It felt like I would be violating their time and that I could be calling in a moment when they might be busy. But over time, I got more used to it and I found out that mostly if a person's busy, they're gonna tell you that they can't speak at the moment or they're gonna hang up and call you later. So just call your loved ones, see how they're doing, and maybe even try the second advice I have for you here now, and it's to catch up with your friends in person more often. Again, we're talking mostly about the old friends that you don't see on day-to-day basis, so you actually don't spend that much time together already. Because when you have socials, you may not feel the need to see them because you think that you know what's going on in their life when you're watching their stories. But if they're really important to you after you delete socials, try just meeting up. there is no need to do anything crazy, to go on some crazy trip or go to some special place. You could literally meet up for just walk. By the way, when did going on walks become so weird? Like, I believe that it's the best way to talk with someone else, because talking while walking is always the easiest. So maybe a tip for you. And now when you've replaced all of social media with an actual socializing, you can get to number 3. And that is to change your mindset. Because once you delete social media, you will have to realize that it is okay to not know everything. It is okay to not be in touch with hundreds of people daily. And actually, reducing the amount of people you see a day might be actually beneficial for your mental health. And I know this might be probably the hardest thing that you should do out of this whole video, but please try to realize that you don't need social media to be social. And that being social is not about what you know about that person, but what you have been through with that person. And again, I know that this might be the hardest part of it all. And so I've got one more tip for this one, and it's to start meditating. It actually helps you to separate yourself from your thoughts and feelings, so you can actually find balance in the current moment. But we'll talk about that in another video. So, are you ready to enter your FOMO stage? Please let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts connected to this topic. Go and write it down there. And one last tip. If you like this video, you might actually be fond of this other one. So check that out. And otherwise, I'll see you next Monday. Bye!